He has given this gift of limits to us so that we can be protected. It's a way that he ensures that we don't hurt or harm ourselves. And so it's okay to honor your limits and still pursue growth. Welcome back to the Raven Nole Show. I'm your host, Raven C. Nole. And as always, I'm so grateful that you're here with me on today. Today's episode is for the visionary woman. Yes, the dreamer, the builder, the trailblazer, but also the mother, the friend, the mentor, and the human. Now, being a visionary is definitely who you are, right? There's no doubt about that. It's one of the many aspects of your multifaceted nature. But today, we're talking about honoring all the facets of who you are, especially the one that's often stretched the thinnest, your capacity. So before we begin, take a second, like, subscribe, and leave a comment if this episode speaks to you. Your engagement helps us to reach more women like you, women called to more. Now, I can relate to this episode a lot because I myself have always been a big vision type of person. I started my first business at 18 years old. I've always been a big dreamer, an executor, and a builder, even before I really understood what I was actually doing. But let's be real about it. Having vision and being a visionary comes with a cost, and that cost isn't always time or money. It can also be emotional, spiritual, your mental capacity. And so this episode is about expanding your capacity in a way that's healthy, sustainable, and led by God, so that every part of who you are, not just the visionary, is nourished and thriving. I feel like the Lord has really had me on similar topics throughout this month or just the last couple of episodes, but I truly believe that so many women are struggling in this area, but just from different perspectives, different aspects in their lives. But I know that it's so relatable. Now, as a counselor and a leadership and mindset coach, I've worked with numerous clients regarding their capacity, especially high achieving visionary type of women. Now, have you ever noticed how the bigger your vision gets, the more your capacity is actually tested? It's crazy, right? And it's like, okay, God gives me more vision, and then I feel like, all right, I'm stretched even more thin, but I feel this urge to, go forward with the vision that God has given me. But at the same time, I already have so much on my plate. And so sometimes it can feel as if, I'm just not qualified for this vision. I don't have the ability to actually see this thing through. I just, I feel like I'm already stretched thin. Maybe this is not what the Lord really wants for me. And, maybe I don't have it. And so sometimes we can feel disqualified from the vision because we need to pause or we need to replenish, right? We feel as if the stretching can feel so heavy at times. It can make us believe that this is just too much. But the truth is, vision carries weight. And we all know that burnout is very real. And at this point, in your life, I'm sure you also understand that boundaries aren't just a nice little word, but it's something that's absolutely necessary for you as a multifaceted woman and as a visionary. But how do we actually start expanding our capacity in a way that doesn't lead to that burnout, in a way that doesn't leave us feeling disqualified because the vision is so big and you want to execute it, but you're already like, God, can I actually do this? There's already so much on my plate. I'm already doing so much. So how can we actually stretch our capacity in a way, again, that's healthy and it leads to breakthrough? So that starts with intention, okay? So that starts with aligning our inner world before we try to manage the outer one. I know that as a executor, as a woman who has vision, as a career woman, as a high achieving woman, as a woman who, really has a lot of purpose and wants to live out her purpose, a lot of times we can look for the external things. We can reach for the external things, right? And we don't always look internally first before the external aspects of who we are. But when it comes to expanding your capacity and really being able to handle all the things that the Lord is giving you and all the things that the Lord is showing you and all the things that the Lord Lord is leading you into, you have to start by intentionally aligning your inner world first. So this looks like choosing rhythms that serve your purpose, not just productivity. I know that we can get so focused on having that output mentality. We have to be productive. We have to move forward. But that's not where we start when it comes to expanding your capacity. It starts with choosing rhythms that serve your overall purpose. And those rhythms really do start from within. And so throughout my life, just being a woman of vision, being a builder, being an executor, being an entrepreneur, being a career woman, all those different things, being a leader, I have found that there have been 3 foundational shifts that have helped me, but also helped the women that I walk with to expand their capacity in a healthy, sustainable way. And so I want to be able to give you those 3 things to really help you. If you are an individual, if you are a woman who's multifaceted and you are a woman who has a vision, but you're like, man, I have family, I have my job, I have all these other things that I've given a yes to, how can I ensure that I can do this in the most excellent way possible and that I don't actually drop the ball? And so the first foundational shift that I think is so important, and we talked about making sure that you align your inner world, right, is that you have to adopt the mindset that you can do hard things, but within reason. Right? You can absolutely do hard things, but within reason. So yes, you're capable. Yes, you're called, but capacity doesn't mean saying yes to everything until you're running on empty. Okay. I am a firm believer that we should stretch ourselves. I absolutely believe that you should try and do things that you've never done. Absolutely believe you should try and stretch yourself beyond your comfort zone, beyond what's familiar, beyond what you're used to. I absolutely believe this. You should challenge yourself. That is absolutely important in order for you to grow, right? But you should not do it to the point where you're in a place of depletion, okay? We're not trying to stretch ourselves and challenge ourselves to a place that leads us to being absolutely depleted, because limits are actually a gift from God. Believe it or not, the Lord has given us all limits, okay? And it's truly a gift to us as human beings, because if we didn't have limits, listen, we would just be beyond anything that this earth could behold, all right? And so the Lord has given us limits because he understands our human nature. And so we all, like I said, have limits within our capacity. And this is in order to protect us. This is how much God is a father to us, is that he has given this gift of limits to us so that we can be protected. It's a way that he ensures that we don't hurt or harm ourselves. And so it's okay to honor your limits and still pursue growth. That is an absolute ability of yours. You can honor and say, hey, this is where my capacity stops, but I still want to pursue the growth that I know is within me. And so honoring your limits doesn't mean that you're lazy, and it doesn't mean that you're incapable. In reality, when you honor your limits, you are honoring God, because he's the one who gave you those limits. When we start to try to go beyond the limits that we know we have for ourselves, that we know, our human nature individually, right? Your limits may be different from my limits. That person limits may be different than your limits. But for your own personal limits, when you know you are on that edge of just like, I am at mental exhaustion, I am at emotional depletion, spiritually, I am dry, I don't have anything else to give. When you know you are on that verge, but you continue to push forward, you are now dishonoring God, because God gave you those limits. He gave you those limits to say, hey, pause. Let's reset. Let's fill our tank back up. You're not God. I am. You're trying to do things in your own strength. Hold up. Wait a minute, right? Pull back a little bit. When we dishonor those limits, we are dishonoring God, because again, he gave you those limits as a gift, as a good father, understanding your human nature and your DNA and what you need to make sure that you are not stretched too thin, where you are now stepping into territory that you think you're God and you are not, okay? Now, the next foundational shift that has helped me and the women that I walk with expand their capacity is to Delegate and trust others. Now, listen, I know you're like, wait a minute, I got to give over some of these tasks to other people. I gotta ask other people to help me out. Yes, you are not the only one anointed to build, right? And honestly, that's a blessing. God is not calling you to do this work alone as a visionary. He is not calling you to try to burn yourself out to build whatever it is that he's calling you to build, or launch whatever it is that he's calling you to launch, or pursue whatever it is that he's calling you to pursue. All visionaries need a team. Say it with me. Come on, need a team. Yes, you absolutely do. If you are a woman who has a big vision, God's not giving you that vision to try to execute it on your own. He's giving you that vision to partner with others. He's giving you that vision to come into collaboration with others. He's giving you that vision to be able to find others who can build alongside of you. And so maybe you are a woman where you connect with someone else's vision, but you are excellent at what you do. You don't have to be a lone ranger. You don't have to be out here trying to do everything on your own. Take your gifts, take your skills, and partner with someone else and bring forth kingdom impact. When we try to just be these, lone rangers and try to build all these things based on look how good I am and what I can do, that's not the way of the Lord. Ultimately, we're not trying to build our own names or try to get the glory. The Lord should be getting the glory. And so if we partner with others, we can make a bigger impact. And so expanding your capacity as a woman who is high achieving, as a woman who's high performing, as a woman who has big vision, that often looks like letting go of some things and trusting others, right? That could look like partnering with someone else, but also inviting others to help you, right? Trusting your team, trusting those that the Lord has sent you to be able to help you bring forth and birth this vision. And so it can be very hard to release control and recognize that partnership and collaboration is powerful, but you have to do that because you are hindering your own progress forward when you try to do your own thing, right? When you try to be the only one who gets the recognition for it. I did it and I built it from the ground up on my own and look at what I've done. Absolutely not. Listen, I am so grateful for the women of God that the Lord has sent me to help, that has sent to help me build this vision out. The only reason why you can see certain things produced like this podcast is because of those that the Lord has sent to help me. I am not trying to do everything on my own. I am grateful to be a visionary. I am grateful to be a woman who enjoys building, who enjoys establishing things, who enjoys, having vision. But I'm not trying to do it on my own, okay? And so the Lord has not called you to carry the full weight of this vision alone. And like I said, I do understand it takes time to trust others, right? It even takes time to trust yourself to delegate parts of your vision to others. Been there, done that, I understand. But your ability to do this will be one of your greatest blessings, right? It will be one of your greatest breakthroughs as well. And it will give you the ability to say, I can breathe, right? Because I am allowing people who are more skilled in things than I am to be in their lane. I am a great visionary, right? But I may not be able to execute or have the skill in every other area that someone else may be better at. And so let's partner, let's collaborate, let's build this kingdom impact together. I am very, 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 very intentional. I am very intentional about ensuring that those who are part of my team understand that they are making an impact by being a part of this vision. I'm not the only one that's touching, people and blessing others and making an impact in people's lives. If we didn't have all the different systems and all the different things in place, none of this would happen. And so everyone who's a part of my team, they are making an impact as well. The next foundational shift that has helped me and the women that I walk with expand their capacity is to get poured into regularly. I know it. I know it. I know it. Visionaries love to give. I know you do. I know you like to lead. I know you like to serve. I know you like to show up for everyone else. But too often we neglect our own nourishment. I know it very well. We neglect our own needs. We neglect our own, what we need to fill our tanks up. We will give to everyone else and then just be looking empty and dry, feeling empty and dry. But that's not the Lord's will for your life. I want to remind you to make room to receive. And again, I know that it can be hard. I know that you are hardwired, right, to be the one that's in the driver's seat, to be the one that's leading. But I want you to make room to receive. Do what you have to do. Okay, to carve out time for your own development. Do what you need to do to carve out time for your own healing. Do what you need to do to carve out time for your own impartation. Because if you don't, you will find yourself depleted. And so the way that you're going to expand your capacity to be able to handle more, to be able to hold more, to be able to execute more, to be able to really bring this vision and birth it and execute it and lead it and grow it and all those different things is if you make room to receive for yourself. If you are depleted, you cannot lead well. Okay. And so you have to say, okay, I'm giving, I'm pouring, I am encouraging others, I am pushing others, but I need to make sure that I have the strength to be able to do that. And so whether that's through mentorship, community, prayer, or simply resting in God's presence, you need it too. You absolutely need to be able to receive just as much as you give. Now, if you've been pouring out nonstop, leading, building, showing up for everyone else, but deep down, you know you haven't carved out space for yourself to be developed, to be equipped, right? You want to make sure that you are also sharp, that you are up to date with what the Lord is doing. If you have not made space to be poured into as a prophetic woman or as a visionary or as a kingdom leader, then I want to personally invite you to join me in Dallas, Texas on August 2nd for the Prophetic Arrows Incubator. This is not just another event. This is an intentional space for your voice, for your vision, for your becoming, right? This is a room full of women just like you who are gifted, who are leaders, who are called, who are ready to move forward in what God has for them next. We are going to dive deep into impartation. We are going to be diving deep into activation and real strategy for stewarding well your call without losing yourself in the process. And so if your soul has been saying, I need this, I need to be filled up, I need to be refreshed, I need something awakened in me that feels like it has died, I need to be able to get in the Lord's presence and just go for broke, then don't wait. Go ahead and click the link in the show notes to register and come get what you need, woman of God. Listen, you don't have to walk this vision out on your own, all right? You don't have to do it alone. You can be amongst others who are also getting strengthened to be able to execute and birth out what God has called them to do in the earth. Again, God didn't call you to be a lonely visionary, okay? He called you to be amongst others, to be into community. He wants you to expand your capacity so that you can execute what he has called you to execute on this earth, all right? Well, thank you for joining me for today's episode. I hope that these 3 foundational shifts really connected with you. I really hope that it encouraged you as well as a woman of God who has vision, as a woman of God who has purpose, as a woman of God who is called to ensure that you are doing what's necessary to fill yourself up so that you can expand your capacity and do what the Lord has called you to do and make an impact in the sphere of influence he has called you to make an impact in. Let me know which one of these 3 foundational shifts connected with you the most in the comment section below. I would love to know how you're going to also apply these things. Until next time, keep thriving and making an impact.